We are live with Harrowing's podcast.
Hey,
It's the impromptu with the everyday junglist as usual. We cannot depend on when he might be available or what he might show on the screen. Your internet
well,
connection is unstable.
I'm getting that. That should go away soon here. Hopefully, I'm getting out of the neighborhood where I'm at. And yes, what you're seeing now is the inside of a cup holder in the car, the car that I'm driving. So, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, I
be
can't turn
careful.
that off. So,
Be
anyways,
careful.
yeah.
You're in a dangerous territory, aren't you?
Well, it's weird where I am. It's somewhat close to where the issues were last night, but also it's a very sheltered. It's a very wealthy neighborhood near the University of Minnesota campus, and so I don't in my belief, and the people that I'm saying this belief is that the protests will not actually get into this particular neighborhood where I am, but certainly very close to where the issues were, especially last night. And we were at a little bar, a local bar last night, and it was pretty tense. I mean, the people were, I mean, you could feel the you could definitely feel the tenseness in the air, if you will. And of course, it's so freaking cold, which is making everything way more difficult. It's probably good from a protest perspective in terms of keeping people down or keeping less issues, if less people are willing to go out. But it's 3 degrees right now, which is actually as warm as I've seen it the past 4 days. So it
Wow.
was minus 20 when I woke up yesterday, which is insane. I mean, it hurt to breathe when you went outside.
Yeah, it was hard to breathe here today, but we had like 18 or 20. It's probably up in the 20s now. And we've got this
Yeah,
sleet falling on about 5 inches of snow, which is the compact.
right.
And it's going to be very dangerous for the next week, apparently,
I
out
can
there.
understand.
I don't know, hopefully we don't lose power, but you can see I'm doing my part for global warming here by keeping that fire going in the fireplace.
Good for you.
I hope
There's
my,
no snow here. We're lucky. We just had the cold. We had the frigid cold here, but the snow is actually south of us. So we're actually not getting snow here. It's the snow is, I mean, the ground is covered in snow, but we're not part of that big storm. We're just part of the freezing cold
so
here.
let's give the people a little context. We've only got Roger Scott having joined so
Yeah,
far, but we might get others at this
yeah,
little
yeah.
impromptu chat. I wanted to talk to you because you were in Minneapolis. You've been up there for a
Yes,
week, correct?
yeah, correct. Yes, 1 week.
And
Yeah,
and that's where all the shit's going down according to the
yes, yes,
news.
yes.
And
And the news is correct.
I was kind of expecting that you'd be telling us about how it's really just a microcosm there. There's a little bubble where all the cameras are pointed, and it's not
Yeah.
really all that big, and it's not really having that much impact on the people. But that's
It's
wrong,
sort of true.
apparently.
It's in terms of the impact, it's definitely wrong because everybody I've talked to in the area, that's all they can talk about. And my first ride, I put a little post about this. I did Uber on the way from the airport. The guy was like, "Oh, he's moving back to Sweden." There's a lot of Norwegians here in the Minneapolis area
Right.
because of whatever reason. And so, but some of them are going back to the Norwegian region. Like my Uber driver, who said him and his girlfriend had enough. They just
They're
couldn't
going to
take it.
Sweden. Yeah.
You can't actually see this. There's some protesters on the corner here. Just wanted to, occasionally you see these around, a couple people here hanging out on the sidewalk, wherever you can see them. But, so it's, and that kind of thing you're seeing all around town. You're also seeing a lot of signs, businesses are saying, ice keep out. The doors are actually locked. They're not letting people have to go and knock on the door, but they'll actually let you in. They might confirm who you are. So that kind of weird thing. It's very strange to have that kind of thing, in a place like Minneapolis, especially.
Right, it's a major city, and I've
Yeah.
had friends who lived up there, but I haven't really heard from them saying anything yet. I think a lot of people are
Yeah.
afraid to speak, basically, because they're afraid
Yeah.
that they're gonna have bring something down on themselves. I
I
sit
think that's
here,
silly. I'm not too worried about that myself. I guess maybe I should be more worried about it, but I never have been, and that's got me in a lot of trouble in my life. But in any event, I'm not worried about that. And I think, people we're such small fry. I mean, to be honest, I've got no reach. I've got no audience. Anything I say, two people are going to hear it. It's like the
Roger
government's got way bigger fish to fry than me.
yeah,
I mean,
Roger
seriously.
Scott
And you too,
is
Hal. No offense, Hal. I mean, I know you're a big deal and all, but in terms of the government's
I'm
priorities,
the nicest guy on
you're
Substack.
correct. So I'm saying, but certainly the government's because of that, the government's all over your ass. No, I think in the grand scheme of things, we're just such small fry. I mean, so small fish in the pond that it's just not worth. I mean, the effort it would require to worry about things like people like us would be so much that you wouldn't have it would be this government's just not capable of doing that. So I'm not worried about that. But of course,
I don't know what you're
I don't
capable
want to
of.
get maybe they're capable of it, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they'd waste their time doing it. Let's put it that way.
I
I
hope
think
they
they're
do.
capable.
I wanna distract
Yeah,
them
right. Yeah,
with my
I guess,
nonsense,
man.
with my
But yeah.
intelligent nonsense.
But yeah, it's weird, and there's like no support for ice here. I don't think I've met one person who's been like, "Yeah, this is great, go ice." out there start busting heads. So I don't know where the support's coming from the ice
Well,
front.
now you
I
gotta
mean,
go
maybe
on
some
that.
people,
You
I
gotta go
guess,
on
or
that.
something. Man, the local people here are not in support of this. I gotta tell you, it's fucking their lives up big time because everything's closed. People are really down about it. In Minneapolis, people are very nice. They pride themselves on being nice people because they're that whole Norwegian kind of attitude, and
Right.
that whole thing is shit in the bed now at this point. Everybody, my Brazilian colleagues I'm here with, are like having the worst. I feel so bad. The U.S. looks like shit to these people because they're scared. They're from Brazil and they're scared to leave the house. I'm like, what's it? It's and I don't want to get back to Tijuana where it's safer. Tijuana takes a bad rap. It's not that dangerous there, but I just find it funny that I left Tijuana. You should go back to Tijuana. It's much safer there.
Much safer than Minneapolis. Well,
Right at the moment, it actually, and I certainly a lot less fear in the streets in Tijuana at the moment. Well, actually, since I've been there, but then here, I can tell you that much. It really
let
is.
me
It's really a
go
lot of
ahead and
fear.
talk to our guests here. But we've had Alexei Site7 from Moscow, Lee Prinmanen from New Jersey, New York City area.
Yeah.
We also have Paul K from Ohio. Roger Scott, I don't know where you are. Where are you? How are you? I always want people to tell me where they are and how they are.
Yeah.
But we are getting a lot of winter storm. You are 3-degree weather up there in Minneapolis, correct?
It's 3 degrees. Yeah, look at like the 1 degree now. It's actually one, 1 degree. Yeah, Fahrenheit. To clarify, 1 degree Fahrenheit. So if our, I want that converts to in Celsius, but I probably should know that as a scientist, but I don't. I can't do the calculation in my head.
I was going to say metric system guy. Yeah, you got to
Yes,
do grams and
I really
like
hate
that.
that.
You know what I'm
There's,
watching on the screen here? I don't know if you can see my
yeah.
screen or anything or see the phone. I don't guess you can. But I'm watching. We finally know how small life really started. And this is from Omni. It's got 7,800 views 17 hours ago. So I was going to watch that, but
Okay.
after I got off these calls, we've got Oray has joined, and somebody's throwing hearts like crazy. You know,
Hey, good.
that's nice.
Yay.
I don't know if they're throwing hearts about my YouTube choice to do
No, it's
humor,
definitely me. It's definitely for about me. I'm sure. Probably my
but
appearance if they can see me.
you're up there. What is taking you to Minneapolis? Let's get that out of the
Work.
way. From
Yeah,
Tijuana to
work. It's work.
Minneapolis.
I not by choice. I'm not up here to protest or by choice or anything. It's for work. Our laboratory, one of our laboratories is in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, so I visited. So we have colleagues from Brazil who have come to visit. Who the company is Brazilian. It's headquartered in Brazil currently, and so
Wow.
we have they're here. Yes, one kid, a young kid, student, actually a young student, a master's student in Brazil. First time to the U. He's been to Canada, but first time to the U.S. And he's his girlfriend was scared to death of him coming here. Which first of all, I'm like, yeah, I would be too. He's got like 17,000 forms of paperwork on him at all times, which is a credit to him. He got like 5 letters from us. He's birth certificate. He's got all the way down. He's got everything to prove he's here for the right reasons. But still nervous about going out, and I don't blame him. But we've been out on the town, and not out of town, but we've been out doing stuff and going to the work each day, and not run into issues. But I just it makes such a it makes the U.S. really look like shit. These people who are here for Brazil. Yeah, and Brazil gets a bad rap as being all violent and stuff.
Oh
And
wow. I think we bumped there. We
I just,
bounced.
yeah, I
Go
don't know,
ahead.
man. It's not looking good for the U.S. From my perspective. I'm trying to tell them it's not like this everywhere, but it's a tough argument to make
Well,
when you're in the
it
midst of it.
actually kind of is.
It kind of is.
I'm in Washington, D.C., by the way. So for the
Yeah,
people who
yeah,
don't know that already, and I live just over the hill from Jeff Bezos's place. And I've got, a congresswoman from California is in my building when she's
yeah,
here, which isn't
right,
all that often. But no, I get to see Auntie Maxine from time to time,
yeah.
as we call her. Maxine Waters, the
Maxine Waters,
congresswoman
okay.
from California, is very
I know,
famous.
yeah.
She's
Yeah,
the
she
one
is.
who
Yeah, I
reclaims her time when she's, yeah, I reclaim my time. And he's great.
know.
You do not mess around with Auntie Maxine.
Yeah, she's from California, right? Is she in California? Is she in California or something? Right? Is she or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, that's
Where's
what
she
I'm
from?
saying.
Okay.
I doubt.
Which
I think it may
which
be down
district?
near
Yeah.
you, like San Diego
Yeah.
or something. I
I
don't
think it
know.
might be
I'm not
some
sure.
Southern California district. Yeah, I don't actually know either, but
Yeah,
anyhow.
or LA or something because
Yeah, yeah.
actually I think it's LA because I think she was out on the streets when the
Yeah.
National Guard was being deployed in LA and they
Yeah.
had all
Yeah.
this hoo-ha. You know what I just saw? Somebody is projecting onto ICE detention center in LA this projection of a video of a officer shooting down into things like our children, our future. What's it? This huge thing on the side of this skyscraper building. It's really
I
it,
didn't realize they had a detention center. I didn't realize they had a detention center set up there in LA, actually, because that's news to me. Uh,
well, you know what they're claiming right now? They're claiming that all this is trying to egg us on to a civil war situation where they're going to shut down any hope
and
of ever getting
I
Trump out of
see that.
office. What's
I
that
can
now?
see that. I mean, it's a very martial law and that sort of thing. If you get, I heard last night rumors about the governor of Minnesota, I don't know if it's true or not, calling on the National Guard to expel ICE, using force if
Well,
necessary.
well, you
I
know,
don't know
the
if that's true or
weekend.
not. I don't.
Well, these guys actually, why aren't they using tasers? I mean,
Yeah,
tasers
you gotta
exist,
be
right?
kidding me. Seriously, I've got one on me
Why are they
actually.
using
Right now, just
live
in case.
ammunition?
I
You
don't
know,
know,
I mean,
dude.
that was the
Yeah, it's
question
stupid.
Renee Good's
Of
spouse
course, dude.
said. It was like a partner.
It's the
She
obvious.
said,
Yeah,
"Why are you
so many
using real
non-lethal,
bullets?"
and even tasers are so outdated. There's so many ways, non-lethal ways of disabling people right now that exist
Yeah,
because of technology that you don't need to be shooting people. Period. To disable. I mean, to effectively put them down. So it's
yeah,
about
and
power. It's about intimidation.
most cops should know how
The
to
threat of death.
manage
Yeah.
to de-escalate violence instead of
When it's five to
escalate.
one, especially when it's 5-on-1, and the guys are, and in this case, the guy already, he was already disarmed. He was acting belligerently or whatever, but he was disarmed already. So at that point, he's no threat. So you've got five of you and one of him. So I mean, what's the big deal? You put the guy down and put handcuffs on him, and then you walk away. Everybody's fine. You don't execute the guy. I mean, And it was an execution. It was like an execution style killing, in my opinion, when I looked at it. The same with the woman who was
You
killed.
know,
It was a gun to the temple, which is that's how you kill someone in an execution or
hey,
a
wait a
mafia
second
hit
now.
or
You
a mob
know,
hit.
who are you going to trust, me or your own eyes?
Yeah, I just whatever. Yeah, exactly right.
It's intelligent nonsense, right?
I don't know how intelligent it is. It's definitely nonsense. I don't think it's very intelligent, but it's nonsense.
No,
All right. Yeah. So
that
I'm
is
actually just
actually the
I'm going.
name of your. Yeah,
Yes, for a publication, but I'm
I
actually
wanted to
driving to
say.
a climbing gym at the moment, and I wish I could show you there's nothing to see here right now. I'm going over to St. Paul. I was worried about going into Minneapolis because the other gym I wanted to go to is sort of near where some of the protests were. So I'm going over to St. Paul, which is actually very close. They're like, the Twin Cities.
Uh,
But I guess there's been less a protest in the St. Paul side, as I understand it. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, so the gym I'm going to is on over there, so it's a little bit of a longer drive. But and I have not seen anybody out on the streets right now. The drive I've done so far, it's like a ghost town. Now, of course, it's 1 degree, but it's right.
Yeah, let me
It's
interject a
two.
little bit. This is everyday junglist, usually in Tijuana, giving us a view of the drive up to the border. But today he's in Minneapolis and has been there for a week, doing work at the lab that they have for the company. He is the chief
Yeah.
science officer. Did I get that right?
Chief
For
Scientific Officer, yep.
chief scientific officer for a new
Phage DX
startup
is the
that
Duo Phage DX is the name of the company.
it's what now?
Duo, Duo Phage DX is the name of the company. Duophage DX, and bacteriophage is our core technology. So that's the
Yeah.
name. Phage.
Bacterial phages are their core technology. And we did
Yes.
have this conversation about whether phages are life or not. And the basic
Correct.
thing is phages can't exist without using the mechanics of the bacteria that they infect. Correct?
Good for you, pal. You are correct. Very good for you. They can quote live in the environment for some period of time, but they cannot reproduce, or propagate themselves without a host. And that, in the case of
And there's
bacteriophage, that's a bacteria. It's
and there's like a phage for every bacteria, right?
there it is. Yes, and they're the most abundant organ or life form. You can't say life form because they're not alive according to the current paradigm, but the most abundant thing, I guess you could call it, on the planet by a long shot. The numbers are incredible, and they are responsible for lots of different things. But they keep the bacterial population of the planet in check at all times, basically, because they kill about 40% of the bacteria on the planet every day. It's
Wow.
like the turnover is incredible. So it just tells you the numbers. It blows the mind when you start talking about the numbers. It's not even worth talking about it because you can't comprehend it. But it's huge.
Well, I
They're
was
critically
actually
important.
are you familiar with fecal bacteria?
Oh yeah, very much. And of
Okay.
course, the
How
microbiome
many
is very
different
important. We've got
species are in our biome, generally speaking?
it's a huge number, and many of them. So so the number of species, I'm not sure, and the number of strains. Again, it depends on how you classify.
Oh,
When you
strange.
get down to that level of the genomic diversity, it really depends on how you classify things. And so, yes, you can say species, But in Escherichia coli, which is a species of Escherichia, the genus, there are thousands, maybe tens of thousands of strains or genotypes. So it depends on how you define diversity. But to leave it suffice to say, it's very diverse. Very diverse.
And some of those
But
strains are quite deadly, right?
some can be, yes. But and typically the ones that typically the good guys, which is a vast majority, keep the bad guys in check. Basically, you want to put it that way. It's simple, way oversimplified things. It's a good way you can think about it, and that's why
Yeah, that's
probiotics,
why I drink
big
kefir,
industry,
man.
right? It's
I drink kefir
probiotics,
regularly, which has 12 different 12
right?
different species, I think, of different bacteria. I don't
It
know the
does. Yes, it
strains.
does. I think it has
Yeah, and I
12 different
like
gen.
that. I'm always thinking getting all these beasties inside me. And,
Yeah.
one of the things that I heard one time about human life and our purpose here is that maybe we're just smart housing for bacteria.
Well, we really are more microbe than man by the numbers game. There's 10 times as many cells, as I said as many times, bacterial cells in your body and in it and on your body than there are human cells. So you are
Right.
more
And your
microbe. You're
bacteria, yeah, they have
a small
their
part.
own intelligence within us, right? Our gut
Well,
bacteria, our
that's
gut
you.
intelligence, right?
I'm going to say no. I don't. I'm a very hardliner when it comes to intelligence. I also, people misuse that term more than just about any term out there. As you know, I don't like to use that word for anything other than human intelligence, really, and animals, some animal intelligence, some mammals. But in any
Like
event,
dogs.
yes, dogs have a
By the way,
form of it. I hate to say form, but somewhat intelligent. But you get to
I take
whales
it
and
I take
so
it your dogs are well cared for in Tijuana while you're away.
they are. My
Speaking
wife
of
is there.
dogs,
She's not she's struggling. We got 14 cats, two dogs, big dogs. She's going to a cat show today, actually up up near in San Diego. A really big cat show. So
to get rid
it's
of
a whole lot
cats
of
or
work.
to get more.
No, it's a cat show. She shows cats. Cat show
Oh, okay.
circuit, which is a whole
So she's got
other.
14 show cats?
We not all show cats. We have several street cats. She loves cats. We love cats. We take in cats. We adopt cats. We
I
got
know
too
this
many.
problem. I've witnessed
Yes,
this before in my own
right.
life, but I only had
But we
one.
we're
Cassandra,
fortunate.
who was my
We
cat.
have a large place. We're fortunate in that we can afford to do that because to take care of cats in the correct way, it costs a lot of money, and
That's
especially
right.
when it's just not a thing to do willy nilly. Many cats can be it's indoor outdoor, and you can kind of maybe feed them every once in a while, and that's okay. But to really have a cat as a pet is a big commitment, and so I hate that. But make it sound like, oh, it's no big deal to have 14 cats because it's a huge deal. It's a
It's a
huge
huge
deal.
deal. Yeah, I think so. I
Veterinary care,
think
we
it's kind
could
of
not
a
do it to
problem.
us. In a lot of cases, it is. Most of your friends have 14 cats. You got to go over and check it. Make sure they're played. Make sure they're mentally sane because it's not a thing most normal people would do and successfully because
Yeah.
it takes a lot of care and you need a lot of space and you have to know what you're doing to do that sort of thing. And most people don't, unfortunately.
And in fact, I think there were some laws in Pittsburgh area anyway about how many cats it was legal to
Yeah.
have.
I'm actually a supporter of that. I think people just
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah.
And you got this problem with street cats. There's so much, and you tell people there's so much anti-breeder prejudice because there are these really, unfortunately, there are some unscrupulous breeders who are these animal mills or whatever, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're trying to make money from something that is not about making money. If it
Right.
is, you're in the wrong business. It's not a
I mean, my
business.
folks, they bought a
It's
Sheltie from one of those places they call Pet
yeah,
Go Round down in
yeah.
Neighbor News. And he had been out there for 4 months, poor little guy. But he was a puppy mill, dog. He
I
was
just
purebred. He
yeah,
had papers and everything. But the
right.
thing was, he was like a Neanderthal Sheltie. He was like a throwback. He was like huge for a Sheltie.
Yeah, they have the weird thing. The thing genetics for breeding genetics it's a science. Many people that are
Right.
quote breeders are not they don't understand that. And so
Right.
you can't cross there's interbreeding. It's just like with people. You can't sleep with your cousin for a reason. You can't have a baby with your cousin. Not because it's not fun to sleep with your cousin or whatever. But it's not just being trying to die, whatever. It's because there's genetic issues that happen if you do that. It's called inbreeding, which is why we don't which is why we do not inbreed.
That's the
Animals.
Habsburgs for you, man.
And of course, you see what happens when inbreeding happens, and that's why many why many dynasties fell from
Right.
inbreeding practice, which is just in both a mental and physical way for people. And it's the same way for animals, the exact same way, no different.
And Yeah, we are very closely related, after all, to all
Of
of
course.
our
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
quadruped folks. And the whole design of bilateral symmetry, go to the Smithsonian down here at the Natural History Museum. They have this hall of skeletons, and I just love going in there because you're like, oh, there's a pattern, there's a pattern. It's the same damn pattern. Whether it's whale or whether it's human or whether it's whatever. There's just the same basic architecture.
Kingdom Animalia. When you get on the animal side, and again, but the breeders, the non sophisticated breeders, which is a lot of them, unfortunately, don't understand that necessarily, and they're also hesitant to use some of the new tools. Like we use all the modern molecular biology tools, sequencing. We're looking for specific genes that are indicated. The whole goal of our breeding program, for Hitler-esque in a way, is to improve health and to make the ultimate cat, but in a good way. I hate to put it that way. I
Good.
hate this. That's a really still bad way to put it. I'm sorry. I should just put it that way. But the idea is to improve the health of the breed, and in many ways, many
That's
of these
good.
breeds have been really their health has been really severely impacted in a negative fashion by shitty breeding. And people
Right.
like
There's those smushed in face cats and
yeah, and people
all
look for
those.
the traits that they want, and that's fine to an extent. But really, the trait you really want is health. Okay, and that's
Yeah.
the number one.
Yeah.
And that's I keep I was trying to tell people all these other things about looks and whatever. I want this to look like this and that. Fine. But
Sure.
if it's
It was
health, we're not gonna do it. It's the bottom line because the longevity of the cat, the health, the quality of life of the cat is the number one, and or it should be the number one, priority in everyone's mind, and it's not, unfortunately. And to try to get
well.
people to in the cat community and even the dog breeding community to agree to that, which it seems like a
Yes.
natural thing to me, it would be like a no-brainer.
I wonder where things stand right now with the German Shepherd community because hip dysplasia was a terrible problem for purebred German Shepherds.
And there's an easy
What's that?
test for it. Yeah, I have got a German Shepherd, and the hip dysplasia is a big deal. There's an easy test for it that you can do it. There's a genetic test. You can get a certificate from the breeder if you buy a German Shepherd that says the family history or whatever. It's a certified to a certain level that's free of hip dysplasia. So that's a disease that should not exist really among German Shepherds, and
Right.
yet it does. And it continues to because people are idiot about it. Maybe not idiots. They don't necessarily have all the information. I guess let's put it that way.
Well, I don't know
And
about that. They could have all the information and still be driven by the almighty dollar.
that's true too. I mean, of course, you'll have that too. But in many cases, I like to think that most people are pretty good people, and especially people that like animals or tend to be. They love the
I
animals.
don't know. I have my doubts about all this. I just went through a situation with a person who ostensibly should be friendly to me, but he was quite rude in a public forum. And I thought, this is just cruelty. This is
Yeah,
just like somebody feeling like it's okay
you do that.
to take me down a peg for the amusement of the audience.
Not everybody,
And
dude.
I was like, you know, a lot of times I can take that and let it roll off my back, but I decided to make an issue out of it.
Yeah,
And I did think, Mitch Horowitz is the one who turned me on to that, the writer. He
yeah,
was talking about how you should distance yourself from cruel people. And it's a macrocosm problem because
yeah,
where we started out talking today, to bring it full circle, is the situation that's happening there on the streets of Minneapolis, where you are,
yeah.
or near where you are. You said you're in St. Paul now?
Well, right now, yeah, I'm at my gym here, sitting in the parking
Close
lot.
enough. Okay, you're at the gems. How long we got?
Oh, well, 10 minutes or so. I'm freezing cold. I'm not looking forward to getting out of the car. So,
Okay, I'll be respectful of your time. The car is probably cooling off as we speak. 1 degree
One second.
Fahrenheit. But getting back to that macrocosm problem, I think for our cruelty in our culture is definitely there on display. And those of us who are shocked by that
Yeah,
cruelty don't know how to respond to it because it's so over the
hard to.
top, right?
And it came out of nowhere too. And again, I blame COVID for this. My hypothesis about COVID and the fact that it's actually a brain, it's actually an infection of the brain first, and it's an encephalitis, really, an encephalitic virus. It should have been classified as an encephalitic virus, in my
Tell me
opinion,
more. Tell me more.
and
My
many
friend
others.
Michelle
I
was
always say
patient
that
number
SARS-CoV-2,
5. My friend
SARS-CoV-2 is
Michelle
a
was patient number 5 at Mount Sinai, and she
yeah,
says she has holes in her brain from this. So tell me more
correct.
about this encephalitic
That's surprising. Yeah.
infection.
So brain a virus is an infected brain cause encephalitis, which is an infection of the brain. And viral encephalitis, there are many viruses are called it's classified as encephalitic viruses. SARS-CoV-2, in my opinion, and I don't think I'm alone in this, should have been classified as an encephalitic virus from the get-go. Instead, they call it a respiratory virus. But that was because of a misreading of the symptomology, because we didn't have enough information when they first discovered it. And so they
Okay.
classified it as respiratory viruses because of the respiratory symptoms. which make it look like a respiratory virus. But in reality, it appears in my mind to be more of a classic encephalitic virus. It goes to the brain first. There are neurological symptoms first. The respiratory stuff is later on, and that's really the stuff that causes the fatalities and things. But
Tell
the
me about
changes
the
that happen,
neurological symptoms. Tell me about the
well,
symptoms. What are they?
so it's really unclear that not this has not been studied all that much for a variety of reasons.
Well,
All I
what
can
you
say
know,
is
we'll give
from
you
what
the
I've observed
small
personally,
of
and
it
what I've
here.
seen in animal testing. So, for instance, animal testing, I don't like to talk about this all that much. It's it's not necessarily the things people like to hear about, but vaccine development is done in animals, right? I mean, in mice primarily, but also other small animals. And the way you do it is you give vaccine candidates to the animal, and then you inject them with large doses of whatever the thing is that you're trying to protect against, right? To see if it works. Okay, 90% plus of vaccine candidates do not work. Okay, they're completely ineffective. So you've injected now an animal with a very high dose of a deadly pathogen, essentially, and so the animal's going to die. It's basically the bottom line, and it sucks. But the animals. This is about working with animals. Why we're trying to get out of the whole animal research area, and I think that there's a good reason to do it, but it's difficult. In any event, in COVID times, the times we were at, we were using animals, and the way they die when they're dosed with a high amount of COVID is pretty ugly. There's a lot of aggression. There's a lot of lack of empathy. There's just a lot of things that those zombie
Ah,
virus movies that you watch.
oh,
The old plague movies that you see. The zombies. It's
interesting.
kind of like
So
that.
it
It's
actually
very.
impacts the empathy centers
Well, I don't know that
deeply.
again. I'm speculating wildly here, dude. That none of this has been public. None of this has been established, and I'm just
Well, I
saying
love wild
it appears
speculation, by the way.
exactly.
Maybe this is true,
So
folks. Let's use maybe logic here.
completely speculating wildly here, but you see very strange things behavior wise, and none of them are good. And I've written about this many times. Anytime you get a brain infection, whether it be bacterial or virus or whatever, you never get changes for the better. People don't become like nicer, and you get like also they love everybody. And I can't say it's never happened, but it rarely happens. And almost all changes to the brain from viral infections are for the negative, from a human warmth or compassion perspective. So you become more violent, more prone to violence, more quicker to anger, less empathy, less sympathy. All those things, all the negative things are amplified for whatever reasons.
Hmm.
And it probably evolutionary reasons. If you're sick, it's probably better to be all amped up. The fight or flight response kicks in, which might help you survive. Of course, you could also make the counter argument that if you're super nice, maybe you can get more help. But anyways, I've talked
Well,
about
you
that a
can
million
be like
times too.
me.
Yeah, right. You're right. But back in the day, however many years ago, I can see why evolutionarily that would be selected that if you're sick, especially if you have a brain illness, that being the fight or flight response activation is a good thing in terms of survival. And so basically that's what happens in many
Yeah.
diseases. So and that's a lot of times the negative things, the temper, the anger, you shut down sympathy and caring, and you activate hate. Activate. I hate choosing these words very a way off case, and hate is another one. You have less control over your let's say emotional states, and
Oh, right.
and in
Right.
COVID, I think
My wife had that when she had a brainstem stroke. She had emotional lability, they call it.
yeah, and people have heart attacks. It happens
Crying
too
at the
many
drop
many
of a
times.
hat.
Yeah, anger for
What's
people that
that
have
now?
heart attacks. People that have heart attacks a lot of times come back and they're different people and they're very mean. They become very
Right.
nasty in many cases. So
I
everybody in
believe
the
that.
world
Yeah,
has had
people
COVID
with yeah,
at
people
this
with
point.
yeah, practically. I've had it 3 times.
Yes,
But I'm
and
still
in
a
the
nice
U.S.,
guy at
people
Substack, but maybe I'm
right.
just ordinary and they
Yeah,
don't
now at this
have
point,
hate.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
My
No,
own
I
my
don't
own
know that.
temper has I know my temper's gotten worse since I had the second time, and I recognize it,
Oh,
and I still can't. I still struggle with that. It's like, and I know I'm like, well, okay, what are you doing here, Dan? Why are you behaving like this? And so you can analyze it all you
yeah.
want,
Well, I was
but
very
and I never
angry
was like
yesterday
that.
when I was
Yeah,
treated rudely, I felt in front of a group of people,
yeah,
which was I
right.
thought highly inappropriate. Said so at the time. I stood up for
Do you
myself.
think? Do you
But
think?
then
You
I
think
started
10
going
years
to
ago?
nuclear weapons, you know?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: would you 10 years ago? Would you have before you ever had COVID or ever heard of COVID? You think you would have acted the same way? I know it's impossible to answer that question, but
Oh,
you think you would have felt the same way?
that's not quite not true. You think you see the good side of me, Dan, But I've got this.
Yes,
My anima is Eris, the goddess of discord and
I see.
treachery and strife and chaos.
I see.
And
I see.
I really am wed to her in a lot of ways.
I see.
And
So you
my
do have
wife
that. You always have.
actually is the opposite. My wife is very, easygoing and very kind, and she was raised
Yeah.
to be nice. She said, "I'm a nicer person, but you're a better person."
Yeah.
And I
And that's
think
probably
there's some
nice.
truth to that in some ways.
There is.
I think my
Especially
wife's
for women.
wonderful, mind you. Everybody thinks my wife is wonderful. She's highly conscientious, very hard
But I hate
worker. I mean,
the
conscientious
nice
to a
thing.
fault. What's that?
Yeah. I think the nice thing is a big problem amongst women. I hate to say that. They've been told that they have to be nice at all times. They've been raised that way, and they've gotten shit on because of it. And I
Well,
really
I was having
don't appreciate that.
I was having a lady on yesterday who runs her own business, helping women over 40 with heavy lifting and things like that, health wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really getting them to be more confident in their bodies, and being
Yeah.
able to really understand their bodies and respond to them appropriately as they
You
go
know,
through
um,
menopause. Because,
and
there's a
it,
huge problem in our society here, Dan, where
I know.
women become
Yeah, I know.
invisible after a certain age. And that's not
And
right.
there's that. Oh, I do. I hear you, man. And not only that, even at any age, the lack of confidence, the questioning themselves, they're always looking for approval from somebody else, the constant apologizing for everything. It's not their fault. It has nothing to do with them. I see it all the time, and I just it really pisses me off. And I don't blame anybody. I mean, I do blame people. I blame God, men for it, basically. I hate to be anti-man here,
Oh, you can
but
blame
it's like
God too, by the way.
whatever who you want to blame, but it's just ridiculous. The amount of apologizing that I hear women doing for whatever anything has nothing to do with their fault. It's just
For
a
existing.
reflex, right? It's like a reflex because they just grew up in that way, or the culture was that way, or whatever. It's like and it's gotten way
We
out
can
of
be the
hand.
change, man. We can be the
Yes.
change. I
But
keep saying that.
I get shit from people about, I get shit from women about it. Like you're being sexist, or you're saying this and that. Dude, I'm just telling my observation. Stop apologizing for shit all the time. It's not your fault.
Well,
You've got
that's
nothing to
kind
do
of
with it.
like my observation too. My observation of people may or may not be true, though. I use that
Yeah,
maybe logic thing of Robert Anton Wilson. We've talked about him, right? Do you know Robert
yeah,
Anton
yeah.
Wilson?
I don't know, but you've mentioned him in the
I
past.
love that guy. And he's so spot on. And he's
Yeah,
dead now, but which is too bad. But, you know, we have a lot of these people out there who've actually shown us the way and
yeah,
have good philosophies of life that can
yeah,
actually help us heal this planet
yeah,
a conversation at a time. Like you and I have struck up conversations, and they've always
yeah,
been interesting to me. I hope they're
yeah,
interesting to other people. We've got them tuning
yeah.
in here.
One
How
or
many
two,
we
maybe.
got now?
Maybe one,
No, we
maybe
got
one or two.
actually. It looks like we got a dozen,
There you go.
and I don't know if
And
they're
I think
all
afterwards,
listening.
now
Sometimes
that
we'll just
uh,
drop in and drop out. Go ahead.
right. And I hear that, we send these, of course, these go out afterwards. And I look at the
Right.
stats sometimes. And, you get maybe 100 people will read, and they probably watch 2 seconds of it or whatever. But hey, that's fine by me. And I don't do this to get an audience, obviously. If I was trying to get an
Right.
audience, I wouldn't be in this game because I would be a complete loser at it because I suck at it, clearly.
Well,
So,
the thing is, hang on with me, kid. We're gonna go
you're
somewhere.
right. So, riding your coattails, riding the Hal Gill coattails. That would
I told you I'm gonna
that would
take
give
you
you
guys around there.
I
I've been
heard that.
running
I heard
this
just,
planet. I've been running this planet now for almost 63 years. I hope you like what
I
I've done with the place.
think you did a great job. You really did a bang up
But when you
job.
think
It's a
about
great spot.
agency, right? We're all interconnected. We're all
Yes.
co-creating this experience we're having of being alive, man, as Jeff
Yeah, I hear.
Bridges would say, you know?
Yeah, I'm hippie
And
stuff.
we got an
Hippie dippy
opportunity to
shit.
play through creation. We're responsible, man. That's the
I
thing
hear
I
what you
get is we have responsibility. We have culpability.
Yeah, well,
We could be
people don't want
held
to take. Yeah, people don't
accountable
want
in
to
the
take.
court of law.
It's a blame everyone
Go
else
ahead.
culture is what it is. You'd rather blame somebody else for everything and
No, I blame me.
someone else. It's always someone else's fault. There's never anything I can do about it. I'm too small, and that's true. There really isn't anything you can do about it most of the time. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. It really doesn't. People say, "Oh, there's
Right.
nothing I can do about it," and you're right. There's not.
One
I can
person
guarantee
can
you.
make a difference,
Well, I
right?
don't know about that. They
John
probably
D.
can't actually.
Rockefeller Jr. John D.
I think
Rockefeller
that's wrong.
Jr. bought my whole hometown, man.
I, I don't think it's true. I don't think one person can make a difference. I really don't. But that doesn't
Well, when
matter
you look
what
at
you
it
think.
this way, I mean, of course they're in cahoots with other people, but the John D.
Yes.
Rockefeller got
Yes.
it in his head from W.A.R. Goodwin to buy my whole freaking town when I was growing up
Yeah.
and restore
And
it how it looked in the 18th century.
that's fine.
And
And that's
as a
fine for
result,
rich people.
And a result, I'm here
Right, and that's fine if you're
as I
rich and you're
am.
well, but if you're the homeless person on the street and you hear the story about Rockefeller buying some town, you're like, okay, great for Rockefeller. How's that help me? I'm the homeless dude. Why should I be nice to people? I'm getting fucked every day out here. I mean, I know what it's like around the
Well,
being
you
in.
know how I look at that, and I do look at that a lot here on the streets of DC, right?
Yes,
Because a
yep,
lot of
yep,
that, and I think every choice I've made have put my feet right here, right now, and the same goes for that guy.
yeah,
And a lot
yeah.
of times those decisions weren't made for me. Things happen
It's
to us
very
or they
true.
happen
I
for us,
agree.
depending on how our perspective is, and it's
Yeah,
all in how we respond to it.
it
However,
is.
the system is rigged to keep a whole underclass
Yeah,
down,
once you get,
right?
and the
But
thing is,
once they
many
rise up,
homeless
man,
people.
it's like sheep in Pink Floyd. Remember that album, Animals?
I do, but
With
many
quiet
homeless people are assholes.
reflection and great dedication, you master the art of karate.
Yes. If you spend much time among the homeless, you learn quickly, very quickly, that many are assholes. They're real dicks, complete assholes, and they kind of deserve where they're at. But there are many that are not, and those are the ones I feel for.
Well, I
And I
feel for
know you're
all
right.
people.
You're
I
right.
feel
People, you're right that they made choices, and many were wrong, and you're right that everyone ends
and
up
things
where they
happen,
sort of quote
you know?
deserve. But at the same time, I don't want to forget about those people, and I really
No,
think even
the
those people have
response
a
to
choice
trauma,
still.
that really,
Correct.
when you're born, you're thrown into this world, and if you're thrown into this
Yeah.
world at a certain economic level, it's gonna be a hell
Yep.
of a struggle to get out of that. Then
Oh,
again,
it's
you
real
have
tough.
people like Andrew Carnegie,
Yep.
and you have people like something else, I don't know, you could go on through the list of people
Yeah.
who have taken the
Yeah.
circumstances that were not positive, and by dint of playing their cards right, ended up being,
And
"Okay, you
luck,
want."
dude. Let's not forget about luck here. You say and by playing their cards right. You're right to an extent,
Yep,
but there is a huge
it's a
component of
lucky
good
play.
and
It's a
luck.
lucky
And
draw. Right.
sometimes they don't break. Sometimes luck does not break for you. For many people, it doesn't. And for most people, it doesn't. That's
Well,
why
for
there's
me,
so
it
few Andrew
hasn't lately,
Carnegies.
or it has, it
That's right.
depends on your
Right.
perspective.
It does.
I
It
did
does.
I did meet with a financial advisor the other day, found out we're in, like, the top 10% of people right now in terms of savings. Well, that's
Well, there you go.
lucky. I hope
That's
that I make
good
it
shit.
till I'm, don't run out of money by the time I'm 97, but, danger of doing it,
Yeah, I already
really.
did. Yeah, I already did. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out of money at this
When are you
point.
gonna be out? Yeah,
I'm
well,
out of
you're
money already.
in.
I already ran out. I ran out. It's gone.
Well,
I just
how's the startup going, though? I mean, has your startup
good.
actually got a
Yeah,
chance of making it?
we are making it. We are. It's hard as a startup, but we've got a great
Right.
technology and we've got a lot of promise, and I think we have got a very very nice strategy. I think too. So I'm not worried about that part, but it is hard when you don't have any money. And I'm used to having some money, not a ton, but if I had a steady job, it decent, not a great. It's
Right.
science, dude. You don't make people think you make some money as a scientist. You don't. I tell you that right now. Get that out of your head. It's not like some. It's not living a high life as a research scientist. I can tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, you're doing okay. You do well. Compared to some
Yep.
people, it's great. I don't even complain about it. But having none, it's very different from having at that level. And I had no income for
And I was
almost a
dumb
year.
lucky. I was born Yeah, oh, man, I was born white with blue eyes.
Yeah, that helps.
That
That definitely
was a
helps.
lucky thing. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's weird. We used to talk about this in the foundry when I worked in Colonial Williamsburg, pouring metal and sand molds and stuff,
Well, well, that's very
presenting those
racist there.
trades, but
Williamsburg. I understand.
we had some deep philosophical discussions. It was
I
back then, in a lot of ways, it was pretty weird.
understand.
I mean, we were about split 50-50, and I have a lot of friends, of course, of all and I didn't really see myself as racist, but I definitely am tainted by it. I mean, I
Yeah,
grew up in the
you
same
grow up
town
and
as Bruce Hornsby. You know that song, "The Way It Is," right? That he broke with Bruce Hornsby and the Range? Well, he's
yeah, I've heard
talking
it.
about growing up in Williamsburg. That's a
Yeah.
good song to sort of encapsulate it. Um,
Mm.
anyhow, getting back to where I was going with our philosophical discussions in the Foundry, we was there was a series on called Triumph of the West, and some of us were watching it, and we were at home and whatever, and we come back in and talk about what we had seen in Triumph of the West, and we just renamed it Triumph of the White Boys. That's what we were seeing, you know?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
the whole thing about Western civilization, I like what Mahatma Gandhi said about Western civilization. You know what that is, right?
Probably, but educate me. Hell.
Gandhi said, "I think it would be a really good idea."
Yeah, I think it would be a really good idea. I like it. Yeah, it would be. It
Become
would be a good idea.
civilized. Because you know what we did to the
Yeah,
Indians? Oh my God. How
I
did
mean
we
everything.
do that too? Have
Mexico,
you ever
what the
seen
What
Eddie
Spanish did
Izzard?
to what the Spanish did to the indigenous in Mexico. I've been learning this, living there now. It's insane, man. I mean, Cortez, the guy's a complete ass. Not only that, he was a complete idiot. He was a complete doofus. The guy was a complete
Yeah,
idiot. I mean, he was so stupid. And yet he managed to kill all these freaking people by being an idiot. I mean, it's really funny. And he's like a hero to people. Like this guy is completely dumb. He's basically
and
I think he's
Bizarro.
substandard intelligence. These guys are like substandard intelligence by like a long shot. I mean, these guys are not smart. The things they're
No.
doing are so stupid. And even from my and I understand the time. You know, times were different and we didn't have all the knowledge we
Maybe they
have
had an
today.
encephalitis.
But they were just idiots. And there are a lot of probably that's probably a big part of it. And then of course there've been many books written about this, the impact of microorganisms on history. And yes, for sure, people who have infections, unrecognized infections, make dumb decisions and they do things that are stupid. And so a lot of times, and people had infections of all sorts back in the day, and they made a lot of dumb decisions. They did a lot of stupid things, and but they had guns, and the indigenous did not, and that's why they were able to kill so many. And we also had diseases that they did not have, which ended up killing a shit ton of them too. So, and whether that's fortuitous or not, obviously it's not up for debate, but but that's what
Actually,
happened.
my father wrote an article called, oh, somebody's put a link in here for us. I don't know what it is. I'm probably going to lose it when we go off of this too.
Yeah. Well,
Cam, wait,
I got to
put
hell.
this link up.
I got to run hell anyways. I got to run, man. I'm
Okay,
sitting
you
here
gotta
and
go to the gym. Well,
yeah, I'm gonna do
be
some climbing.
good. And
Stop thinking about this
thanks for
shit, heavy
catching
shit.
up with me.
You too, man.
Yeah, well, we're gonna
Hopefully I
fix
make
it
it.
all, right? Because we're
Yeah, we'll fix it.
responsible, you know?
By the time I leave on
Relax,
Tuesday, I
man.
assume I will have everything fixed here by the time I leave on Tuesday. I guarantee you that. Y'all better.
Be safe.
Wednesday, actually, I leave.
All right.
I can't wait to get home, man. Seriously, I can't wait. It's
All
so
right.
cold up here. I can't wait to see back in warm Tijuana. I will. Yeah, I'll get a hold of you when we're back home. We'll talk soon.
All right. Very good.
Later, man.
Thanks
Thanks
for
everybody for
joining.
joining. See ya.
Bye.